accept the minutes of March 9th and 10th as, February 10th as written.
We have a motion for the accepted minutes of March 9th and February 10th as written. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? I'm just gonna shrink this down. I think, Adam, you got control of that first? Does everybody know you up here yet? So this is Adam, our new IT person, if anybody hasn't met him yet, that we're splitting with Rutland. So I'm Dave Tuttle, the chairman. Introduce yourself,
Mark Stady.
Brian Inman.
Good for him.
I guess you're first tonight.
And you do have two of Adam's proposed budgets in front of you.
So I'm Adam Suzor, if anybody didn't hear me, I'm the new IT director for Barry and Rutland, and I also serve the dispatch center. Since this is new, I'd like to kind of give you an idea of what I've been doing and where I'd like to see the technology go for Barry. Currently, I've been working on a disaster recovery plan with Mass IT, and that's to help us. So as we move forward with technology, it's important to make sure that there's a plan in place for when things go down, because as we become digital, if a server goes down, that could be disastrous to the town. I started Tech Tuesday. Basically, every other Tuesday, I'm going to be doing a webinar. So any town employees or anybody in the town is invited to join me on that webinar. I'm going to walk them through some basic technology skills. So this week we did Google Drive, which is a cloud storage. We're working on redesigning the website. That's going to happen this fiscal year. I've been working with a couple internet service providers, Mass Broadband Initiative and Charter, to get some of the Barry town buildings connected to fiber so we can get some faster internet speeds to help accelerate this digital movement. And then I've also started a 5-year IT plan. So the 5-year IT plan will maintain 7 firewalls. That's basically like the security to your building. Some switches, wireless access points. So I'd like to build a wireless network, actually one network throughout the entire town, so we can offer guest wireless securely, allow town employees to connect with their personal devices, that type of thing. Some servers, and then the workstations. The plan also includes the cost of the security software, our email, and our website hosting. This is the cost associated with each year, so because technology is not going away and it's not really a capital purchase anymore, I really think it's important that we, sorry, I've got this phone for public safety, so I gotta.
Better not be Rutland calling.
So because technology is no longer a capital improvement, I mean, there's some pieces I think that we could say, so like let's say we wanted to put wireless in the center of town for people to use at the park. Let's say that type of thing could be put in as like a capital improvement. But where we're actually, the town's actually going to be operating on these systems, and they're going to be dependent on it. Public safety is dependent on it. It's really important to make sure that we maintain it and it really gets built into that operating budget. So this 5-year IT plan, it's basically all of the network equipment and computers that the town has, and I scheduled to replace it over the course of 5 years. So this is something we would be able to follow again after these 5 years are up, and it just ensures that everything is replaced within a maximum of 5 years.
All servers,
Everything.
all 59.
All 59 workstations, firewalls, servers. Just make sure we don't have any outdated equipment. We don't have to worry about failures. And it keeps everything within a warranty period as well, so we don't find ourselves having an emergency. So I have 2 proposed budgets. The first budget is the town does not receive the grant. So I guess I should actually, so I applied for an IT grant. It was a joint application between Barry and Rutland. We applied for a total of $180,000. for network upgrades. So that would include the servers, firewall switches, and Barry and Rutland would only have to pay a small percentage of that. So I have two budgets. One budget is that we don't receive the grant, and this is to move forward with that 5-year IT plan that I had up previously. And then the second one is the budget if we receive the grant.
Oh, you know, is there a,
Mid to late spring. So if we receive the grant, I mean, the state's going to pay for about just under $69,000 in network equipment for us, which would be huge. It would allow the town to really accelerate where it is. We would be on year 5 of that IT plan. We'd have the infrastructure that we need to start moving forward with digital documents, being able to accept new forms of digital payment, that type of thing. So I'm hoping we get the grant. That would help us tremendously.
How much competition for that grant is?
They didn't tell us.
Oh, okay.
There's a total of $2 million.
Yeah.
I believe that was available to any community compact towns. I mean, one great thing is that Barry and Rutland have regionalized, which is one of the things that grant was really trying to push. So if we get that grant, it helps us with building redundancy across Barry and Rutland as far as our infrastructures and networks.
Good.
So it was in line with what they were looking for. I just hope they do the same.
so I guess what we should do then is we get closer to town meeting, you know, if you hear about the grant, Heather will let us know, and we'll kind of, you know, work on the budgets then, so. Does anybody have any questions, Will? or-
Not until we know whether or not he's good.
Yeah, to get the grant or not. No, but thank you very much for joining us too, so enjoying it, or?
Yes, I'm enjoying it. It's fun.
Good.
It's a good crew to work with here, so. Awesome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Selectmen, any questions? Are they even here? They left?
Just
Selectman?
They left me.
Leaf just left. So, just the brains. All right. Thank you very much. So,
Thank you,
well,
Adam.
as we get closer, typically what we do is we meet with all of the boards now, and as we get closer, if we have to make any adjustments or changes, we kind of contact everybody. So, but thank you very much for coming. It's nice meeting you.
Thank you. It's nice meeting you
Nice to see
guys.
you.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks, Al. Thank you.
Thanks.
This could become the trip. Thanks, Al.
Thank you.
See
Did we promise the school would go next?
Yes.
Before we have the school come up, I have just a couple quick, slight changes to our numbers here. So, here's where we're at as of tonight. Our beginning levy limit, maximum levy limit. So our tax levy, our cherry sheet numbers, the local receipts, am I dying or?
No, you went to
Okay.
stream.
Well, it's not that, it's just so tiny, it's hard to.
Tiny and fuzzy.
Possible to see.
I learned that from Cheryl, so I
That's much better than.
There we go. So,
Hey, there you go.
we adjusted our local receipts. The way we're gonna have IT in our budget is we're gonna put the full amount in here and Rutland's gonna reimburse us. So we increased the local receipts by what we're anticipating to receive from Rutland for the IT services, so that's why that number's up. So it gives us our total revenue. The appropriation for the school, this is right now a 1.5% increase for planning purposes. All the budgets are basically in the cemetery. This is their unofficial budget. They're meeting tomorrow night to vote on it, so that's kind of the number that they have right now, but they're gonna vote tomorrow night. All the other boards came in. Most of them came in, just to let you guys know, it's your first time seeing this, most budgets came in either level funded or close to level funded. The police department has, this number here has an extra officer in it. Every year, he puts another officer in, and we were only able to do last year, we haven't, so, but that still has that in there. It's about a $40-something thousand budget item. This is our town insurance number. This is an estimate. We do anticipate this being a little higher than this 105, so that number will change again as we get the final one. This is the budget for IT.
Is that health insurance or just municipality buildings?
This is the general.
Buildings?
Property.
It's the general insurance. The rest of the budget's pretty well close to where they were last year. We added in this line item here, this is the new public safety building. We're anticipating for heat, electricity, and utilities. Heather's an optimist. She thinks it'll be up and running before the end of this fiscal year. So, which we really hope it is, at least some point after New Year's. This is the assessor's article that they had in their cover letter. This is the cost for that. Snow and ice, this is where we're at right now, which is a good year for us. Last year we were there, but unfortunately I watched the weather today and bummed me out. We're supposed to have snow or something on snow. These numbers didn't change much. The allowances, the anticipated receipts are basically the same. This is what we're hoping, that sewer hasn't voted yet, but we're hoping they do their 75 towards their debt. And at the end of the night, we're close, like 9,000 off right now.
Is that off of levy?
Yes,
So you're 59,000 below levy?
9,000.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I guess my eyes on this.
It's all right.
I'm the same. Thank you.
9,000, but again, the chief's got the extra, officer in there. Yeah, we haven't gone back and hit the big budgets. His was the only one that kind of had an extra employee in there. So that's where we're at as of tonight. Any questions before we go on? So, School, you guys want to come up and update us on what you're up to?
You want us to go?
Sure.
What's the good news of the bad news?
Not accepting bad news.
Yeah,
All
it's-
good
No,
news.
it's not good news.
Only good news on Wednesdays.
I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
I think we wrapped it up.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Torb, he's been working with us on our school consolidation and reorganization planning.
So just so you know, before you go any further, Ted did come to us, 2 meetings ago, and was talking about your process this year and how impressed he's been with the information
working
and
at it,
everything,
but-
so.
I would say that while logistically, if it were something the school committee could simply do without going to town meetings and so forth, obviously it would be logistically easier than it's going to be. There seems to be no interest or enthusiasm to do much of anything for September school opening. Would you say that's?
Right.
And which is kind of too bad. We feel that there could be as much as $1.8 million, there could be as much as $1.5 million, or as little as $1.5 million if we were to do the consolidation plan, close 3 schools, reorganize where students go to school. But there doesn't seem to be any enthusiasm, even on our task force, for the municipalities to jump on board with that. We have been working with the 5 towns with a community compact grant, trying to get some, and we have access to some revenues that will allow us to do a study about demographics. We've already done like 3, but we're gonna do another one to demonstrate that enrollments continue to decline or they're certainly not going in a different direction. We have a lot of additional square footage in our buildings that obviously we have to take care of. One of the huge problems this year that you can't fix and I can't fix is we have a massive increase in special education costs. Probably $1.5 million just in new placements and new staffing that's required under IEPs. And I know that our problem is I have to do that. It doesn't matter if you like it, if I like it, it's just that we have to do it. If there's no additional revenues in our budget, obviously, the 1.5% increase would be down below our current, what we're spending. If we don't do something creative with that, we will just cannibalize the rest of the district to support 50 kids who are in out-of-district placements. Some of whom are in $300,000 a year placements, and it's needless to say problematic. The state is holding us harmless, but will give us 0. Not unlike what's happening to all regional school districts or school districts around that have continuing to have declining enrollments, because it's by head count. So if you have fewer kids, they won't give you any less money than they did like 7 years ago, but they're not gonna give you any more. If you're wondering about the Foundation Study Committee, they indicated that, yeah, they owe the schools billions of dollars for health insurance and for special ed, but guess what? They really aren't going to do anything with that either, because the discretionary money from their conversations with us are going to opioids and working on the team. And vocational schools, if you've noticed that the voc schools are really making out with child bake, I'll tell you. And it does not certainly make us happy, because the rest of the schools are sort of being left to their own devices. That amount, we understand that trying to pay, even for these special education costs that we have, you can't do it. You can't do it on your levy. We're gonna be meeting with the school committee on Tuesday, walking through, we're gonna cut millions of dollars. And, it's gonna be pretty ugly. I am going to talk with the school committee, and this is new to them, about override. I may be whistling past the cemetery, I get that, but I can't not say to them, we have to talk with selectmen and say, we may go to a town meeting where we say, blah, 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 X number of dollars, and blah, 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 X number of dollars contingent on an override. And if the town meeting votes to move that forward, we would have to have a ballot election. I know the council want to do that in sort of July and August, but there's really we don't have a lot of wiggle room with this. We're working hard with our collaborators, trying to put our students in placements that are the most reasonable, but of course parents have the final say on that. Seven Hills is a huge, huge burden on us, huge. I know people don't realize it, but at least probably 30% of our special ed directors' time is there all the time. Our school psychologists, our behavior specialists, whatever, they're there because they are very, very, very needy and difficult students. And sometimes their risk assessment is so severe that they are placed out of the district. When they're placed out of the district, that is billed back to wherever they came from. You know, Everett, Boston, Revere, whatever. But if their risk assessment isn't what people would say too serious, then those students come to us. There is not a dime for those students. We do not get any Chapter 70, we do not get any extra money for safety plans that we may have to put in to work with those students. And their 24-bed unit just went to 30, and they think we'll go to 32. We're not unlike the Devereux School that has group homes that are killing Wachusett. And because we are held harmless, we get no additional Chapter 70 money. We continue to be a very popular school choice school, probably about $1.7 million this year, would you say, Cheryl? We have about between 85 and 100 students who have already indicated interest to participate with us next year. Our problem is we are looking at substantial layoffs. And once we do that, our ability to attract students diminishes. I would tell you that every school district around us is in the same boat. There's just no money coming from the state. They may give us $20 a student, which would be about $45,000, maybe 40. I mean, I don't know. You know, that's not even one bus ride for a kid who's in a placement. So special education is huge. Our health insurances have been a little challenging, but compared to special education, and I can't do much about special education. I can't say to parents, we're not going to do that, we're not going to support that program. I mean, if the students are placed at the Cotting School, hey, it's $300,000, and that's too bad, so sad.
And how much do we get from the state for that 300,000?
We will get
Percentage.
something under the circuit breaker, and Cheryl, you want to describe what that would look
Just
like?
a rough percentage.
Well, what circuit breaker does is it has an automatic inflation factor in it every year, where it's three times the foundation for every other kid in the district. So right now it's around $49,000. You have to pay the first $49,000, and then you get whatever percentage is appropriated in the state budget. You spend around 60 to 62% of that. So subtract about 50 grand from the 300, and then take 60% of that, and that's what we get reimbursed for.
if that's what they raise and appropriate and put in, because sometimes it goes down to 50,
Mm.
and we never know until the Senate,
Right.
and I should say the
Final.
governor signs on the dotted line. So we have a very, very challenging budget year, based on state receipts, and unless something, certainly Charlie Baker did 0 with transportation. I mean, what we had last year, we'll get this year. Even though we're spending more money and it's a reimbursement, whatever, so that doesn't look good. We've had conversations with Dan Goby, who indicates that, usually the Senate has better ideas about, revenues and can perhaps, give us $25 a student instead of 20. Well, that's where it is. And basically, for the last 7 years, we have used reserves and pushed the rest of it across the table to you, and/or cut staffing. We've cut, 14 staff members a couple of years ago. We continue to decline in obviously the number of personnel there, appropriately so in some cases, because obviously we have fewer students. But certainly a little, we were 32 kids in 6th grade in Barry Elementary, 31 in 5th grade, 29, 28 across the district, even in the smaller towns. We have merged some schools to keep the class sizes up. Hubbardston has, I think, about, 40 or 50 kids from Templeton to keep their class sizes as robust as we can, because we have like 2 sections, but they do 2 small sections. So we have a lot of Templeton interest there. So we don't have a lot of food sales that can give us the kind of revenues we need. There is no, I say this is school committee, there is no way to pay those required fees for special education other than to contemplate an override. And I understand the chances are probably slim, but it's either that or cannibalize the rest of the district for X number of kids. But with Seven Hills, it's a challenge for us, a huge challenge for us. And we had hoped that we would be able to add a little assistance in special education, because our other special education programs are losing contact with our administrative component, because we're always at Seven Hills. Our attorney's fees, battling it out with Seven Hills and where they would like to place those kids, are huge, probably tripled since Seven Hills is open with Eats Group Home. So it's challenging for us. It's challenging for us, and every one of those students deserves to be educated, with the proper opportunities and access to the appropriate programs. It's just that the cost of some of those programs are so excessive, we just can't handle it anymore. I was at a meeting with the commissioner where we were bemoaning the fact that the Department of Ed keeps giving increases to those schools. One school has had 22% increase. I think it's the New England Center for Children. And so the superintendent from Shrewsbury said, I have 4 placements over $400,000, Mr. Commissioner. He goes, oh, who gave him that increase? And he says, you did, Mr. Commissioner. So, a couple 250s, $300,000 placements. Students who are in the Spalding Center in Boston, who quite frankly are not even able to really access an educational program, is still considered education, and we pay those residential placements, which are mammoth. So that's our tale of woe. I wish I could say that the increases were in all new kinds of programs for kids,
Yeah.
but they're not.
I thought Seven Hills had its own in-house school and its own resources.
No. If they need tutoring, we do it. If they need to take the MCAS, we do it. We have to go, well, for example, you arrive at Seven Hills Group Home. We don't know what your risk assessment is. We don't know maybe what appropriate placement would be. So in the interim, while we're waiting for documents, and it takes sometimes weeks, we have to provide you with tutoring. Because you're ours, except you're not ours as far as Chapter 70 is concerned. So we would provide you with tutoring and whatever else we needed to do until such time as we could get through the, special education process. Because you could end up being placed at Quabbin, you could end up being placed out of house. And then our transportation people have to worry about getting the van to get you to your placement. And if it's in an outside placement, we can bill it back to where the student is coming from. But if it's not, we own it.
So under your, I don't even have the number yet, but under the budget you just originally passed here, the draft budget, what are we looking at for? a
Oh,
number?
I wouldn't even tell you because it would be, we are certainly.
Turn the camera off if you want.
We are certain, we are certainly aware that that is no budget we are gonna bring to you people with any kind, I mean, if you didn't laugh me out of this room, I would be shocked. It's unrealistic. We're gonna begin, I would love to say scalpel, but I think we'll be taking a hatchet and going at it. And really, the only things that will survive, if we're lucky, will be the special education programming. And if that doesn't survive in an override or whatever, then the rest of the district goes in a very bad place. In fact, I said to my husband, and I've never ever said anything like this in my life, I said, I wish I had just left the district 2 years ago, because to do what I'm gonna have to ask the school committee to do to that school district is criminal, criminal. So we will be whining and complaining and looking for, your assistance in putting an override, before the people. Obviously, it's their school district, and we want the best for of the children who attend. And you probably realize the demographics in our community change. And the demographics change when the housing situation that we have in various parts of our communities attract students who have needs, significant needs. 55% free and reduced lunch now. Significant interaction with DCF for our students. Our guidance counselors are out straight, and it's challenging. But we have been so fortunate because we have lived on what you couldn't have afforded, which was school choice. And we continue to have that opportunity. My fear is that we've got to be able to come out of this with academic programs that continue to be something that other people want. And I'll tell you, Narragansett's in no better shape. Spencer East Brookfield wants to place that they have another whole set of problems. But certainly Quabog, North Brookfield, Wachusett is now stabilizing their population. They have the lowest per pupil expenditure in a regional school in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. They will be you're gonna see a lot of overrides. You're gonna see a lot of 1/12 budgets where we won't have budgets and we'll be, going back and forth trying to say, okay, the override didn't pass, now what do we do? We're hoping that we can work with parents and say, if you won't close schools, you gotta pay the bill. And when you think about it, if we close the schools, all we do is take care of special needs kids.
Yeah.
With all of that. And, and I know, communities want schools. They want their elementary school in their community, and I don't blame them. I'd love it if they could have them and we didn't even have to have the conversation, but.
What's your timeline, Ed? What do you guys think?
April 28th, we should have an assessment to.
So we have, Charlie?
In a nutshell, it's my observation that the public schools in general and our district in particular is a social welfare institution that incidentally is supposed to educate children. And, between the various unfunded mandates to look after drug issues and medical issues and psychological, emotional issues, the burdens are just terrible. And it's sad because one of the major initiatives that they have, I think, is to add a few more elementary school teachers and intervention specialists, and part of the special education people work with the kids at Ruggles Lane. And I observed there a couple of weeks ago some third graders in these intervention groups, and they're really doing a fantastic job. The data, if you track it over a 2-year interval from 3rd grade to 5th grade or 4th grade to 6th grade, for Ruggles Lane and whatever other, I guess Hardwick or whatever others were in that mix, are quite impressive in terms of the performance, the standardized testing performance. By all accounts, most education specialists say that that's where you should put the emphasis these days, is on the elementary education stuff. But if we don't have the funding for it, we can't do it.
So where can we put our casino?
One of the schools in 5 towns.
I always thought
We
Quab
should.
and that would really look good, with the high school around that place where it looks like a mall. All kinds of, we could keep the machines off during the day.
Well, have all of our, we've met with all of our boards, Adam was like the last one, and Selectmen tonight, some wrap-up stuff, so we got all of our budgets in from everybody, and I think we're looking at, we haven't talked about it yet, but what, June 21st we're talking maybe,
Oh, okay.
for a town meeting? So,
And
so I guess
perhaps,
we'll just kind of wait and see with you
and
guys.
perhaps that, you know, we could sit down and have a conversation about, with the selectmen and yourselves about the possibilities of, you know, a portion of our budget contingent on an override. Because I know there's some logistics that have to happen in order for that to happen.
As we get closer, we'll talk. I know, you know, you guys do a great job. You know, my daughter was 5 for 5 applying for colleges, so she's, you know, you guys do a good job. I'm just nervous about, when we talk about an override, I don't know about these folks here, but I know my phone rang off the hook when tax bills went out last year. You know, and as we were talking to people, and so.
And I know in
Yeah.
America today, we don't want to pay for anything. We don't want to pay
That's
for
right.
roads, we don't want to pay for bridges, we don't want to pay for our children, I get it.
Yeah.
But you know what, my job is to say, please pay for this, because pay it now. Trust me, with some of our little ones, you pay for it later.
Well, I see them every day.
Yeah.
We pay for it then.
It's job security for you,
Yeah.
you know?
So, our retirement
It's
plan
jobs-
underfunding you.
Yeah.
So, no, I just, if we're gonna do something, we should really have it mapped out and
We agree.
kind of plan
And,
it out.
and the thing that's important from our perspective is obviously, it's 4 towns, if 4 out of the 5 towns would have to pass an override for this to work. And that will be interesting in a couple of the towns. I mean, I don't know, I'm hoping I can at least get a conversation. And
We'll at least start the conversation of
Yes.
shutting schools and
Yeah.
kind of making some other
Well,
changes, you
we're
think?
trying as best we can to say, how do we take what limited resources we have and drive it to the classroom? Because, you know, just heating extra floor space and lighting extra floor space. Now, there'll be contingents within the communities who just want those buildings, you know, to do whatever new stuff you know, office buildings or whatever. Some of the selectmen in other towns are saying, oh, this will work out fine for us. I mean, you know, community centers, we got gyms, we got this, we got that. Other places, absolutely not. I mean, but you got a faction, absolutely, they will never close anything. And I don't think we could, I think it would be very difficult to pass it at town meeting. And we have to pass it at town meeting to close the school. So,
Well, we'll just keep in contact with you as we
Thank
get
you.
closer, so.
um,
Anybody else have any questions, or?
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't eat yet, I'd be throwing up.
Well, and the thing that I think is important is, we would be happy to have a special education director come and just explain to you the various, you know, placements that we have, the
I think the
requirements.
good thing about this board is we've all been around a long time and kind of know, you know, we understand that, and we know it's, you don't know from day to day, some kid moves into town or somebody moves in and it gets put on you.
Yeah.
So, that's the hard part of it, so.
So, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your,
Wish I had better news. I wish
Yeah, I
one day I
wish
could
you
just
would.
come here and say, not necessary. We're giving money
Well,
back.
I'll pass out. But thank you very much for coming in, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
So, thank you. Thank you very
$100,000 per student.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
I know, it's like when I come up with the good news of the night, right?
Realistic.
Yeah.
Which one?
Charlie, did you have something for us tonight,
I
or
just had a quickie.
what's that?
I found out
You found a free ambulance.
if we get to the point where we can get an ambulance,
Uh-huh.
it qualifies for state bid price.
Which is
So
how
it
much it
saves
is.
a chunk of money.
Does it? All right.
Okay? And I had a question for Mark.
It qualifies as what?
State bid price.
Okay.
You don't have to go out for 3
Three
bids.
bids.
You can just do it.
All right.
He had said something about how much it would cost to fix the brake lines. The older truck is what I was talking about, and I think you were talking about the newer truck, the one we want to replace, and I just wanted to make it clear. The newer truck, all the suspension is pretty tight. It rides like an old truck. Yeah, the motor's still
I
good.
rode in it a couple weeks ago.
Okay. So it's tired. And the older truck, yeah, we'd have to spend a few grand on it, but that's all about it, and it'll work. You know, we're not replacing that one this year anyway.
What's the new truck, Charlie? What year is the one?
2009.
And what is it? Is it a
GMC 4500.
Okay.
Weighs 14,000 some odd pounds.
Okay.
has 5,000 and some odd hours on the engine, and
It's a diesel, right?
it is a diesel. The engine's fine. The
Okay,
rest of it's getting tired.
okay. So you're looking at like suspension, brakes, that kind of stuff?
No, I'm looking at a new ambulance because everything's tired. The whole thing is worn out. It gets beat upon severely. The old one, we can do a little bit of suspension work and brake lines, and because that's only got 60,000 miles on it. Anyway, I didn't want to bother you with all that tonight. I just wanted to let you know I can get.
You're not
Steve
bothering me.
advice.
I appreciate the feedback.
Okay,
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
I tried.
You do a good job, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, Charlie.
Dave, can you pull up, Selectmen's, we don't really need it.
Everyone has it.
We all have it in front of us.
Right?
Yeah.
Just
See.
wanna-
Huh? Yeah,
For the public.
the
People
public,
watching,
the public.
the people watching. People.
I think there's something at home.
So,
Yeah, I hit a button I was supposed to.
since December when we handed in our budgets, we still do not have the general insurance numbers. Those should be coming in April. Do expect a roughly 5% increase, maybe a little more for workers' comp. So those we're still in hold for. We have received the Worcester County retirement figures, which we were told expect a 10% increase. It came in at an 8% increase, but you'll see when we get there, the bottom line is going to be an increase this year because we asked for actual numbers for water and sewer, and they calculated those, and it came in less than last year that were attributed to water and sewer. So we'll start first unclassified accounts. Those are all level funded. Town report, holiday decorations, street lighting. The various accounts, there are minimal increases with the town council, legal expense, and a little more money to repairs and buildings for an overall increase of $1,800.
Okay.
And town council is
Town
50% less than anyone
Yes.
else that you will find as a
And
lawyer.
100% more fun to be with.
100% more than what?
Fun to be with, Jim Beard.
He's great, he's awesome. Quirky, he's great.
The Selectmen's expense account, there's a minimal increase in that account, $500 for supplies. Henry Woods building account, their custodial expense, that's based on this year's expenditures. We increased that line item, as well as contractual agreement for our elevator, that goes up that percent. So an overall increase of $1,350.
Now, is this got a new, this got insulated, this place, right?
Yes,
Is
the
that working out?
attic. The actual, we just worked on the baseline for energy, for our green energy scheme. It's not clear yet.
It's never clear, okay?
Yeah.
For all the years I've been around, it's never clear. I just want to know if there's anything clear, okay? Was it any fuel less, anything less?
You have to take into all the other factors, like
Like-
this year was.
Like how warm it was, and
Yes.
degree days, and you never have to get in a whole lot of
Yeah,
stuff with
and I
that.
haven't done that analysis, so I can't say.
Well, I know
Yeah.
3 days, right now, I think we're 20% less than last year based on the differences, at least 20%.
Right now, our
What?
expenditure in in fuel is significantly less.
Yeah,
So
it
right
should-
now, we have a savings in that account
Yeah,
this
it should be.
year's.
It should be that, plus the place is not a barn anymore.
No,
I'd
it's
expect
warm,
it to
it's
be,
warm on the third floor.
Mhm.
yeah,
Mm.
I'd
It
expect
is.
it to be better.
Yeah, that's one
finally.
Well, there's no heat up there, so whatever heat was up there went up the stairwell. No, really.
Yeah?
There is,
Yeah.
a definite difference, physical difference when you go up there in the summer and winter.
Yeah.
It used to be cold in the winter, and, an oven in the summer, and now it's cool in the
Good.
summer.
Good.
So. The town hall account is level funded. the salaries, these are contractual, and, did you get a step this year?
Yeah.
Step increase. Worcester County retirement, that's the budget I talked about earlier, is, the overall, we received an 8% increase, but water and sewers portion will be less than previous year, so the bottom line increases. Okay. And the last 2 pages, this is a proposal I presented to the selectmen at their last meeting. It would be to have an in-house custodian. And ran the figures, and so the library has a custodian for that building, so that's in the top line. You'll see that's the salary for that. So if you look at, there's 2 alternative budgets. The first, so 4th column is budget number 1. If that's outsourcing, as we do now. So for the Henry Woods building, the senior center, the town hall, and for the public safety building, we would need to hire someone this year. And that's based on our current company that cleans the buildings. So the bottom line right now, if everything stated as is $31,675. If we, based on the person and the rate that the library custodian has, the bottom line, depending on whether they took health insurance, it would fluctuate, obviously. The big savings would be if they didn't take health insurance. But you see, without health insurance, it would be only minimally more.
And that, the custodian we have now that does this building and stuff, we put that out to bid again this year. And it's the same guy that has been doing it. His price went up. However, the price of the other bid was like $20,000 more. Something like that. It was almost $20,000 more a year than this guy's doing for.
That's the second page. Yep.
Yeah.
You'll see
Oh, okay.
for the second lowest bid, we would be paying more
Yeah.
than
Right,
Yeah.
with someone with
Right.
health insurance.
right.
Yeah. So.
For all the buildings.
For all the buildings.
Yeah, so it's 57,000 compared to 31,000. It's a chunk of change.
Mm-hmm.
And the buildings have to be clean. And the good thing about having our own is if there is a problem, call them, say, hey, we need you at here, or
Yeah.
we need you down there, you know. So, and there's enough work to keep them busy, that's for sure.
And that's all we have for right now.
They took all the fun out of that.
You're supposed to have me good news.
That is good news, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So what did you put in here?
It's not reflected in there.
No,
The new hire, if we do know that.
It would be, really, it would be minimally, a minimal expense, so.
All right.
So the budget number 1 on that first sheet,
Yeah.
that's what's in there.
Well, we were doing good.
What's the bottom line saved now, the way it stands now? I
It's
couldn't see it
9,000.
before.
9,607.
No, it's not bad for this point in time.
Right.
But if you remember, our goal was to
Not max out.
be under our levy limit,
Yeah,
so that's under our levy limit still.
well, you know, based on the discussions we had with the assessors, the board kind of had it. You know, we're not going to vote to the levy.
Based on the
Because
new
it was a big, it was quite a large increase in that.
Yeah.
So we kind of said that we were going to do that because of tax purposes and
Yeah.
all that. You know.
And
what if you put the school at what it was last year? You've left it as what it
One
was
and
last
one and
year?
a half
5%.
percent.
Oh, you did 5%?
5%, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Okay,
I say 1.5%,
Yeah, you
it's
did.
5%.
okay,
I
okay,
thought that
Yeah,
was
I
low.
misspoke,
okay.
sorry. A little brain dead tonight.
They seem to be in real trouble this year.
Yes.
I mean,
No,
the
realistically,
figures she
they are.
gave us, they are in real trouble.
And this is a 5%, what would we have been under their proposal? Like it was a 13% district overall.
10%.
Yeah.
We would have been 10% increase?
I've heard 10.
What's 10%? Just plug in, just change that to
Yeah.
1.1.
But, so that would put us 250, but you take out Eric's extra officer, that drops us down 40-something. What else was in here that was extra? The officer,
Town clerk had an assistant, additional, or clerk, sorry.
yeah, there was an additional,
DPW had an increase in the superintendent's salary
Yeah.
and a vehicle and sewer, but I think that came out of enterprise.
that was their funding in there. In,
How about cemetery?
Well-
Cemetery had a minimal increase.
Okay.
It was like $2,000, I think.
I
They
think,
have a pretty small
I
budget.
think between that, I think you're gonna see a little bit different in local aid come back out in the budget. I would prefer, to be honest with you, we're gonna probably have some free cash certified at some point in the next
Yes,
10 years. Be the wise answer. You know, I think we can get this close enough, even if they do come with a 10% increase, to not have to do it override. At least close to say, okay, we're gonna just take a little bit out of reserve, because I don't think override will pass. But I do agree with you, I think they are in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, it certainly wouldn't pass in 4 or 5
Yeah.
times.
Yeah,
No.
don't forget about all our capital needs.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah.
That's the
It's been
other-
put on.
And we have to buy stuff with the.
Oh, yeah, we have the air packs we have to buy and stuff like
The
that.
ambulance,
Well, a lot of things that we
because
put
ambulance
off.
receipts isn't gonna cover the new ambulance. It's gonna
And
come
we're
out of.
probably gonna have to buy a fire truck because one of them just blew an engine.
Yeah.
The block is junk.
Can't believe that used junked fire truck crapped out on us.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Is that the one?
The one from
No,
Pittsburgh, right?
that's not
Oh,
the
no.
one.
I thought it was one from
It's
Pittsburgh.
It's not the
I thought it was the
ladder.
ladder truck, yeah.
No, it's not the ladder.
So,
And they don't make that engine for me.
no.
Of course not.
How
So,
would they do that?
We're in a 2.2 diesel turbo.
Out of the
With a
ambulance?
fire truck that gets
it
20
does have
miles
a
an hour.
diesel in it, but it's a little larger.
But we're gonna, I
Little
mean,
bit.
the certification is gonna have to be decent. We haven't done anything in years. We haven't, when was the last time we had a special town meeting? 2 years now?
Yeah.
So we have 2 years of
Yeah, it should be, it should
free
be.
cash. We have over $1 million in stabilization right now.
Yeah, we do.
Um,
And in that
We're
res-
very conservative.
Yeah, we got through all those tough
We are.
times.
We're kind of
We have
forced to be
Correct.
concerned.
Yeah.
We lose $500,000 a year from the dump.
Yep.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Could sell a lot of bags.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, overall, I think, overall, the town is not in bad shape.
No,
Now, would I like to see more money in the coffers? Yeah, everybody would.
I do think we have ignored, not ignored on purpose, but some of the larger things like the fire trucks and all that, we've been lucky. You know, we've known for
Yeah,
years
yeah.
we have to do something and we haven't.
You know, a new fire truck's $400,000. I can't see that, but, you know, a good 3-4-year-old.
Yeah.
We'll get one from Wellesley.
Mostly.
You know,
They change every year?
that's 10 years old, they
Yeah,
they
that-
change all the time.
It's
so-
10 years old and it's got 2,000 miles.
Yeah,
on it.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Doesn't leave the house.
We'll get through this too. So,
One of
So we need to get
the
through it without
comments about
bankrupting the taxpayers.
people not too
That's what I'm saying, we'll get
interested
through
in
it.
doing anything. Nobody, they all want to study all of these studies and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Because when you get to a town meeting, if you haven't studied the thing,
Yeah,
nobody's
me
going to
too.
want to close the school. And this issue about who gets the building is not an easy thing,
No,
Correct.
no.
okay? It's a terrible burden on the town.
It is.
It's got to be solved.
Yeah.
So you know,
No, it's not.
Even the financing of it has to be solved at the state level before we can
yeah,
make the
well,
big of that.
there's a lot of issues
Correct.
associated with that.
Yeah.
Okay, it'd be nice to have it just go away, but it's not gonna,
No, I agree, Ted, it's not going to
No.
go away. And she's in a position now where the school population has dropped, where she can implement these changes, you know, and make it work, save some money, but, and it's like Ted says, nobody wants their school to go away.
one guy on the board is the selectman in Granger, and he says, try to close our school, give us back the building, it's gonna kill us, we can't afford it.
Yeah.
So he said, when you come to town to vote, and they say, here's what it's gonna cost you,
Yeah.
increase in taxes to close that building, nobody's gonna vote for it.
Yeah.
So, we gotta solve the problem ahead of time.
How about that dilemma when I came in, it was a few minutes late, on the Seven Hills?
Yeah.
Is that gonna be
That's
worked out
disturbing.
through the,
Yeah, very.
that's more than disturbing.
Yeah,
Is that gonna be worked out through a state level, you know, to resolve
has
some
to
of
be.
the, it has to
Yeah.
be worked out.
Yeah,
Because how is
That's
that,
crazy.
how is that fair?
it's not.
Yeah, no way.
It's in no way
They
fair.
pay no taxes,
No.
and we have to
But,
uphold all their
those kids aren't
educational
our
needs.
kids.
no,
Right,
you know, that,
and they're receiving monies for every one of those children.
Yeah.
you know, the town,
Maybe not enough.
Should the
but-
price of their education not be, you know,
the town they come from should be footing the bill. It's what we do.
Percentage of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's what we do. We
Yeah.
send somebody to Norfolk Academy or something
Mm.
like that. We pay the bill, you know?
100%.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So this,
Yeah, they gotta work
and that's
that
not
out.
gonna get better unless that gets resolved.
one of the ways it's gonna get better, one or two ways. The Senate, the
Yes,
state resolves it,
Mhm.
or they close the place. Those are the only two options.
right.
And I don't know which one would happen first,
Mm.
you know?
So when do we want to meet? Oh, we want to talk about town meeting.
It's our
Yes.
kids. It's a private business,
Yeah, right.
right?
She means we own those kids.
What, what law says we own those kids?
The
Education.
Massachusetts general law.
Oh,
Board of
that's-
Education.
So if there's
Yeah,
a law
Brian,
that says
can
we
you
own
sign-
them, then
Brian,
that's the person you gotta
You
talk
sign
to.
your
Correct.
minutes.
You would
Okay.
think
There's two
so.
copies of the
Yeah,
minutes.
right?
They
Yeah.
have been
I'm
having
good.
conversations
No ink.
this
Okay,
fall
done?
with our legislators.
Yeah.
But-
you.
and
Good happened.
Running up that wall.
So we have, we want to talk about when you want to do town meeting. Is Tuesday the 21st work for everybody? June
Which date,
21st?
David?
Tuesday, June 21st?
Town meeting?
What does the school year end?
Right around there.
It's about that time.
Yeah, with their snow days, they'll be up that far. Might have another one coming
You know, on Monday.
Well,
in. Monday, Tuesday,
They say
talking
that,
snow.
they say that every week, and then,
Well,
Oh,
they do.
Ellen will have a hard
they said it
time.
last week.
Oh, yeah.
I'll tell you,
Remember that
Mondays.
happened in March, and that's why we switched to April?
Yes.
There was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
On
snowstorm, and she had to shut down the voting,
I remember
and
that.
then it had to be on another day, or when it was, and that's why she switched it to April,
Yeah.
from March.
So you say the 21st of June?
Yeah.
Do you want to have an alternate date too? Just in case,
So was the 14th.
just if the school can
You'll have-
accommodate us on the 21st or
Oh,
Maybe it'll be after the 21st then.
the 28th, is that too late?
that's too late, I think. I'd say like the 23rd, maybe the Tuesday or the Thursday.
All right,
Yeah.
21st to the
Okay.
23rd.
Yeah.
June
Okay.
21st would be the last day of school if there was 5 snow days.
So I bet it's the 17th.
That's Friday.
I know. Do you think they probably had 3 snow days?
Maybe 3?
There's been at least 3, I think.
Not too many more than that, I
They
wouldn't
just had
think.
one recently.
Yeah.
They just had one, and then there was 1 or 2 before that.
Okay.
What was the alternate date?
23rd.
You guys want, you guys have to vote on
What
it.
time, 6, do we start?
They'll vote on it Monday.
Yeah.
Alright.
And we'll open and close the warrant
Yes,
dates
right.
and times on Monday too.
Great, that sounds fine.
Like I said, we got all the budgets in, so I think now it's just a matter of waiting to kind of do the fine tuning as we get closer. So, you guys want to meet 2 weeks from tonight?
It's the 13th, right?
April 13th?
Oh, I had that for tentative, right?
Yep.
You have that for tentative?
Yeah.
That's Thomas Jefferson.
It's the date of our auction too.
Oh, yeah, so, some money for the coffers.
There we go, some good news that night.
Yeah.
13th, 7 PM.
And what are we doing that night?
I don't know, whatever comes up between now and then, maybe the,
Do you want to go over those few budgets? If anybody has any budgets they want to revisit?
yeah, we go over the budgets again that night, and if we get any new information. When school vacation that week?
Yes, well, it starts the 15th.
So typically we get, the house budget should be done by then, at least
Okay.
out, not
Yeah.
finalized, but we'll get, should have a draft of that, we'll see some numbers there. And then, it won't be a long one.
There's a big presentation for the Q drug on that night.
Yep.
So they're gonna, people will be busy with that too.
We won't keep you long then. We'll get to it.
It'll be over by then.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The lady has her job in Hubbardston, Anita.
Yes,
They want to have Hubbardston be kind of the head one on the school stuff. Okay, is that all right with you, Selectmen, if,
I put
She
that on
does
Monday's
it.
agenda too.
oh, okay, all right,
Great.
that's good. Because
They
they're
want
gonna
to take
ask.
the lead on it? in
Yeah.
other words?
Right, the
She,
closing, the closing.
yeah, for that, when they hire somebody and that, well, Anita's knows the guy down there, I guess, and she'll be the one that'll kind of be point on that.
Okay.
And she seems to have it well in hand, so.
but she's not gonna be there very much longer.
She
Oh,
got
is
2
that
weeks
right?
left.
Yeah, she's moving over to West Boylston.
Well, it should be after this budget.
I don't know what she
I think
worked
she's done
out.
in 2 weeks.
She's done in 2 weeks, so,
Oh, that fast?
yeah.
Wow. Maybe she won't be in chair.
Yeah, well, anyway, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Right.
Right, need a motion to adjourn?
Mm-hmm. Make a motion, we adjourn.
And I second it.
Aye.
Thank-
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
1 hour.
Get on the dot.
Thank you.